from the beginning. Yahuwah declared 6 days you labor, but one is prepared. A day of rest, a day of delight, a sign between us shining bright. Not a burden, not a weight, but a baraka never late. From generation to generation, a day of favor, no hesitation. The Shabbat is a sign, forever it remains. From the rising of the sun till it sets again, Yahuwah has spoken, his word never fades. We rest, we remember, his command is unchanged. Not for the nations, they never obeyed. They profaned the day and walked away. But Yasharello, called by his name, turn back, return, no more shame. Yahuwah's word is truth, it stands so strong. If you love him, then you walk along. No buying, no selling, no worldly ways. Just delight in him and keep his ways. The Shabbat is a sign, forever it remains. From the rising of the sun till it sets again, Yahuwah has spoken, his word never fades. We rest, we remember, his command is unchanged. Yahuwah's word is truth, it stands so strong. If you love him, then you'll walk along. No buying, no selling, no worldly ways. Just delight in him and keep his ways. The Shabbat is a sign, forever it remains. From the rising of the sun till it sets again, Yahuwah has spoken, his word never fades. We rest, we remember, his command is unchanged. The Shabbat is a sign, forever it remains. From the rising of the sun till it sets again, Yahuwah has spoken, his word never fades. We rest, we remember, his command is unchanged.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat
They
shalom.
profaned the day and walked away, but Yashara, called by his name, turn back, return, no more shame.
Hallelujah, Yahuwah. You are worthy, Abba Yahuwah. For this is the day that Yahuwah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Yes. Shalom, Mishpaka.
Yahweh's word is truth, it stands so strong. If you love him, then you'll walk along. No buying, no selling, no worldly ways. Just delight in him and keep his ways.
Yes, let us keep his ways. Let us not do our own on this day. Let us do what is before Abba Yahuwah as he has commanded us to do so. Shabbat shalom, Mishpaka. I am Ak Jimmy. For those of you who don't know me, we are ambassadors of Yah. We come together on the Shabbat. We are going to be talking about the calendar today. But before we do, let us go ahead and palau if you can. If you're able-bodied, if you can stand with me, let us bring this in together, facing towards the great city of the great King, our Abba Yahuwah, who is in the personages of who we know as Yahushua HaMashiach. Let us do this together. I will be facing east for those of us here in the United States of America, and we'll be blowing the shofar. Abba Yahuwah, we come before you on your Shabbat, this day of rest, to commemorate what you have done in the creation of the Shamaim and the Arats. For you told us 6 days we are to labor, but on the 7th day we are to rest. Abba, none of us have this walk perfectly. None of us know all that you have given man to know, but we ask for your patience with us. We ask for your favor upon us. We ask, Abba, that you help us to endure to the end. Do not deal with us according to our ways, but deal with us according to your namesake, O Abba. For you are our Savior. You are our salvation. Abba, we ask that you would help us to care for one another, to love each other as you have loved us. Help us, O Abba, to radiate that love to one another, not just in word, but also in deed. Abba, we pilar for all of our Akis and Akodis all over the Sarats, who know this day to be your day, who know this day to come before you and prostrate themselves before you and to speak unto you, giving your blessings to your name, your barakah to your name, O Abba, because you and you alone are the maker of the Shamaim and the Arats. We ask that your Ruach HaKadosh be in our midst on this Yom. Abba, we ask that you would teach us and guide us. I ask that you would use me as a yielded vessel. May you speak through me. May I learn as you teach all of us, O Abba, together by your Ruach HaKadosh. We do not only pilar for ourselves, but even for our physical mishpachah. Those who don't know you, O Abba. Those who reject the words that we share with them as we try to get their eyes to open up, but only you can open their eyes, O Abba. We ask that you would open up their eyes, be it our children, be it our spouse, be it our mother and our father, be it any of our co-workers, our cousins, our brothers and sisters, O Yah. We ask that you would open up their eyes because we know that the day of you coming is very soon, O Abba Yahuwah. We ask that you would prepare us as your people for those things that are coming upon the Sarats, that we will not lose heart, that we will not faint, that we will not turn around and go back into the ways of the world, but that we will stick close to you, clinging to you, O Abba, and that we would do whatever it takes to refuse the mark that they're about to bring upon all the populace. We give you praise and honor on this Yom, O Abba. And at this time we ask that you be in our midst. All these things we ask in the mighty name of your Ben, Yahushua HaMashiach, the name that you have given us, that we are to call upon for salvation. It's in his beautiful name that we pilar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, and hallelujah, amat. Rumamu Yahuwah. All right, Mishpachah. It is so wonderful for all of us to be together on this Yom, knowing that Abba Yahuwah is the one who orchestrates our life. He is the author and the finisher of our Amunah. Let us go ahead and do our readings before we get into our subject matter. We are going to be talking about the calendar and Saturn. That's right, Saturn. And how all of this is connected. Okay, so I'm going to be reading out of the scriptures, TS 2009. And let me just think here before we get going. There is a few announcements very quickly that I want to share for those of you who are going to be coming together with us for Pesach. Please send us your itinerary. The cutoff date is going to be March 2nd of the pagan calendar. Reason being is because we got to have everything set up so we know what we're paying for, how many people are coming, so we can get the food together, and also the t-shirts. If you didn't give us your t-shirt size yet, please contact Aki Al. Send it to him, your shirt size. The type of shirt that we're all going to be wearing is a unisex shirt. So whatever your unisex size is, please give that to Aki Al. All right. And we'll make sure to note you down. But yes, as far as those of you who are going to be coming, if you haven't paid to attend the Pesach by March 2nd, we're going to assume that you are not coming. You will not be attending with us. And so for that reason, we would have to mark you off and maybe give your spot to someone else who's able to do so. But March 2nd is the cutoff date. All right. Okay. With that being said, let's go ahead and continue here. So let's go ahead and read Barashit, or what we know as Genesis, chapter 1. Many of us have read this many times in our life, but let us allow the Ruach to speak to us. All right. Can everyone hear me okay and clearly? Please give me a 1 or a yes, so I know that we're not having any technical issues. I do have my Wi-Fi on. All right, great to see that. Great to see that. Boy, I tell you, I missed you guys since last night, since Layla. All right. So let us read this together. Starting at verse 1. And it reads, in the beginning, Alua Elohim created the Shamayim and the Arats. And the Arats came to be, formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Alua Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. And Alua Elohim said, let light come to be, and light came to be. And Alua Elohim saw the light, that it was great or pleasant. And Alua Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Alua Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be Arab, or evening, and there came to be Bakar, or morning, Akkad Yom, or one day. And Alua Elohim said, let an expanse, a firmament, come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. And Alua Elohim made the expanse, the firmament, and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it came to be so. Let me bring this down so we can read the rest of this here. And Alua Elohim called the expanse Shamayim. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the second Yom, or second day. And Alua Elohim said, let the waters under the Shamayim be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it came to be so. And Alua Elohim called the dry land Arats. And the collection of the waters he called Mayim, or seas. And Alua Elohim saw that it was great. And Alua Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the Arats. And it came to be so. And the Arats brought forth grass, the plant that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Alua Elohim saw that it was great. And there came to be evening, and came to be morning, the third day. And Alua Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the Shamayim, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the Shamayim, to give light on the Arats. And it came to be so. And Alua Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And Alua Elohim set them in the expanse of the Shamayim, to give light on the Arats, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Alua Elohim saw that it was great. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fourth day. And Alua Elohim said, let the waters teem with shoals of living beings, and let birds fly above the Arats on the face of the expanse of the Shamayim. And Alua Elohim created great sea creatures, and every living being that moves with which was in the waters that was teeming, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Alua Elohim saw that it was great. And Alua Elohim baruched them, saying, be fruitful and increase, fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds increase on the Arats. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fifth day. And Alua Elohim said, let the earth, the Arats, bring forth living being according to its kind, livestock and creeping creatures, and beasts of the Arats according to its kind. And it came to be so. And Alua Elohim made the beasts of the Arats according to its kind, livestock according to its kind, and all that creep on the Arats according to its kind. And Alua Elohim saw that it was great. And Alua Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shamayim, and over the livestock, and over all the Arats, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the ground. And Alua Elohim created Adam in his image. In the image of Alua Elohim, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And Alua Elohim baruched them. And Alua Elohim said to them, be fruitful and increase, and fill the Arats, subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shamayim, and over all the creeping creatures on the Arats. And Alua Elohim said, see, I have given you every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of the Arats, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it is for food. And to every beast of the Arats, and to every bird of the Shamayim, and to every creeping creature on the Arats, in which there is a living being, every green plant is for food. And it came to be so. And Alua Elohim saw that he had made, and see, it was very great. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the sixth day. Thus the Shamayim and the Arats were completed, and all their array. And in the seventh yom, or the seventh day, Alua Elohim, the mighty of mighty ones, completed his work with which he had done, and he rested on the seventh yom, or the seventh day, from all his work which he had made. And Alua Elohim baruched the seventh day, and set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Alua Elohim had created and had made. These are the births of the Shamayim and of the Arats, when they were created. In the day, in the yom, that Yahuwah, here we see his name, Alua Elohim, made the earth and the heavens. This is where the second chapter should begin, at verse 5. But for whatever reason, the people who did this, they separated and split up the two chapters. Okay, so that is the reading from the Torah. Let us go now to the Nabaim, also known as the prophets. And we are going to read Yazakal, also known as Ezekiel. Chapter 1. Let me situate this. I feel like I need a little more room here. There we go. Ezekiel, Yazakal, chapter 1, verse 1. And it came to be in the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th of the month, as I was among the exiles by the river Kabar, the Shamayim were opened, and I saw visions of Alua Elohim. On the 5th of the month, in the 5th year of the king Jehoiakim, exile, the word of Yahuwah came expressly to Yasakal the priest, the son of Bozi, in the land of the Kasdim by the river Kabar. And the hand of Yahuwah came upon him there. And I looked and saw a whirlwind coming out of the north, a great cloud with fire flashing in itself, and brightness was all around it. And out of its midst, like glowing metal, out of the midst of the fire, and out of the midst of it came what looked like four living beings. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and each one had four faces. Each one had four wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the appearance of polished bronze. And under their wings, on their four sides, were the hands of a man. And each of the four had faces and wings. Their wings touched one another. They did not turn when they went, but each one went straight forward. And the likeness of their faces, the faces of a man, and faces of the four had faces of a lion on the right hand side, and each four had the face of an ox on the left hand side, and each of the four had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces. Their wings were spread upward. Two of each touched one another, and two covered their bodies. And each one went straight forward, going wherever the Ruach was to go. And they did not turn when they went. And in the likeness of the living beings, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of torches moving back and forth among the living beings. And the fire was bright, and out of the fire went lightning. And the living beings ran back and forth like the appearance of a flash of lightning. And I looked at the living beings and saw a wheel on the arats, beside each living being with its four faces. The appearance of the wheels and their works was like the appearance of beryl, and all four had the same form. The appearance of their works was, as it were, a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went in any one of four directions. They did not turn aside when they went. And their rims were high and awesome, and their rims were covered with eyes, all around the four of them. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them. And when the living beings were lifted up from the arats, the wheels were lifted up. Wherever the Ruach was to go, they went, because there the Ruach went. And the wheels were lifted together with them. For the spirit, the Ruach of the living beings, was in the wheels. When those went, these went. When those stood, these stood. When those were lifted up from the arats, the wheels were lifted up together with them. For the Ruach of the living beings was in the wheels. And a likeness was over the heads of the living beings, an expanse, a firmament, like the appearance of an awesome crystal stretched out over their heads. And under the expanse or the firmament, their wings were straight, one toward another. Each one had two which covered one side, and each one had two which covered the other side of the body. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of many waters, like the voice of Al Shaddai, the Almighty, a tumult like the noise of an army. And when they stood still, they let down their wings. And a voice came from above the expanse, from the firmament that was over their heads. When they stood, they dropped their wings. And above the expanse, the firmament over their heads was like the likeness of a throne, one throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone. And on the likeness of the throne was a likeness of the appearance of a man high above it. And from the appearance of his waist and upward, I saw what looked like glowing metal, with the appearance of fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his waist and downward, I saw what looked like fire and brightness all around, as the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day. So was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the esteem of Yahuwah. And when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. And this is the reading from the Nabaim, from the prophets. And now we are going to Revelation. Chapter 1, Hazun, also known as Revelation, the revealing of the Mashiach. Revelation of Yahusha HaMashiach, which Alua Elohim gave him to show his servants what has to take place with speed or quickly. And he signified it by sending his messenger, his Malak, to his servant Yohanan, who bore witness to the word of Alua Elohim and the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach to all he saw. Baruch is he who reads and those who hear the words of this prophecy, of this Nabah, and guard what is written in it, for the time is near. Yohanan, to the 7 assemblies that are in Asia, favor to you, and shalom from him who is, who was, and is coming, and from the 7 Ruachot that are before his throne, and from Yahusha HaMashiach, the trustworthy witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the sovereigns, the kings of the Arats, to him who loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and has made us sovereigns and priests to his Alua Elohim and Father. To him be esteem and rule forever and ever. Amat. See, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye shall see him, even they who have pierced him, and all the tribes of the Arat shall mourn because of him. I am the Alap and the Ta, beginning and end, says Yahuwah, who is and who was and who is to come, Al Shaddai, the Almighty. I, Yohanan, both your brother and co-sharer in pressure, or that is tribulation, in the reign and the endurance of Yahusha HaMashiach, came to be on the island that is called Patmos, for the word of Alua Elohim, and for the witness, the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach. I came to be in the Ruach on the day of Yahuwah, and I heard behind me a loud voice, as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alap and Ta, the first and the last. Write in a book what you see and send it to the 7 assemblies in Asia, to Ephesus, to Smyrna, to Pergamos, to Thyatira, and to Sardis, to Philadelphia, and to Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice which spoke with me, and having turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands, that is a menorah. And in the midst of the 7 golden lampstands, one like the son of Adam, dressed in a robe down to the feet and girded about the chest with a golden band. And his head and hair were white as white wool, as snow, and his eyes as a flame of fire, and his feet like burnished brass, as if refined in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And in his right hand he held 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword. And his face was the sun shining in its strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And he placed his right hand on me, saying, Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last, and the living one. And I became dead, and see, I am living forever and ever. Amat. I possess the keys of Sheol and of death. Write therefore what you have seen, both what is now and what shall take place after these. The secret of the 7 stars which you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are the messengers, the Malachim of the 7 assemblies. And the menorah which you saw are the 7 assemblies. Hallelujah to the reading of the Ketubim, or known as the writings. So this brings us now to our subject matter. I know all of you have heard about Saturn. Saturn. I was said that we were about the calendar today. There are those of you who have the calendar beads, and there are those of you who don't. It doesn't matter if you don't have it, you can still follow along. So let me bring up a calendar bead for you. I don't know if our Aki Nate is here from Canada, Aki Nate, if you are here, this is how your calendar beat should look like today. We are on the 11th month. There are 12 months in a year, not 13, 12 months. We are on the 11th month. And if you count from the bottom going up, you will see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We are on the 23rd day of the 11th month. Okay? 23rd day of the 11th month. Now, for those of you who've never seen one of these before, they come in different colors, different beads. Each color has a representation of what it is that it is describing or what it is telling us that the day is. On here, you see all of these golden beads. There are 52 of them. That is for the 52 Sabbaths that we have every year. The white beads are the high days throughout the year. The black beads are the days of the year. Altogether, you will have 365 beads, but we are to keep a 364-day calendar only. This red bead here is the separator day. Some call it the void day. Some call it a day that we just live out. But this would be the day that separates the first day of the week going from the last day of the week. So you see here is a Shabbat, this gold one here. Let me blow it up for you so you can see. This is going to be the last Shabbat of the year. This is the 52nd Shabbat of the year. Okay? The very next day is a void day. And now we're going to go over this from the Dead Sea Scrolls. They have kept impeccable records during that time. And one of those things was that they understood the calendar of Enoch. And so this is that void day. The sun has a 365.25 cycle, but we have been told and commanded and instructed to only keep a 364-day cycle, which is perfectly divisible by 7. 52 sevens in a year, which if you multiply 52 times 7, you get exactly 364. Okay, so that is what you'll find in the book of Enoch and also in the book of Jubilees. You'll also find it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So this day here cannot be anywhere else but here. It has to be after the last Shabbat of the year. Give me a second. Let me take care of my new puppy that I have here. Give me a second, you guys. I apologize. She is a little rambunctious one. I think the other two dogs took care of her. I apologize for that. Okay, so as I was saying, so this day here is the separator day. You cannot split up the 6 days of work and the 7th day that we're to rest. There are people who are putting this void day in different areas, and you can't. It has to be after the last Sabbath. So it's almost as if you have 2 Sabbaths, okay, a day that we do not count according to the Dead Sea Scroll. It's a day that we live out after the last Sabbath. So we reset our weekdays, okay? This is all biblical. We haven't been taught this understanding. We think that every 7 days, every 7 days, every 7 days since the beginning of creation is what we know as the Sabbath. This brings us into Saturday. Why was the 7th day of the week in the English language named Saturday? This in itself lets us understand that there is something sinister going on here. But people just wash right over it. Oh, Saturday is the Sabbath. There is a sinister agenda going on with Saturday. So let me put this off to the side. Let's get into some of this. I want you guys to see this with me. So I asked a question. as I take this off of my cradle. The question I asked is Saturday connected to Saturn? Yes. Saturn or Saturday is named after the Roman deity called Saturn. And the name comes from the Latin phrase Dies Saturni, meaning Saturn's day. This connection is reflected in various languages where the word for Saturday often relates to Saturn. Okay? So now, what does Saturn have to do with Sabbath? Why would the Catholics, who are Roman at the beginning, of course, now you have Catholics all over the world, but the original Catholics were Roman. Why would they name the last day of the week, according to their understanding, mind you, Saturn's day? I'm sure many of you have heard of Saturnalia. Let's go and look into Saturnalia. Let me pull that up. Let's see here. Give me a second. What is Saturnalia? Saturnalia was a popular ancient Roman festival held from December 27th to the 23rd, dedicated to the deity named Saturn. It involved feasting, gift giving, that's where you get your Christmas gifts and presents, and a temporary reversal of social roles where the slaves were treated as equals and moral restrictions were relaxed. This is what Saturn and Saturnalia, they're the same. This is when they would worship Saturn. Okay, so again, one has to ask the question, why is Saturn at the end of the week? Now, the other question is, does Saturn have anything to do with Satan? Yes. Yes, it does. So now you got to ask yourself, why and what is the reason for them giving us this day called Saturday if it's connected to Satan? Let's do this here. And all right. Satan is a figure from the Abrahamic religions representing evil or temptation. Saturn is a Roman deity associated with agriculture and time. There have been theories of a linguistic connection between the two. They originate from different cultures and mythology. However, Satan and Saturn seem to be from the same deity, dualistic in nature, representing a certain truth, but also opposite, and considers what is known as deception. Deception. There's a deception that is going on before us, people. They don't want you to understand that Saturn and Satan are the same thing. It's the same being. So now there are people who call themselves Jews. Let's go there. Revelation chapter 2:9. Many of you know this, some of you don't. For those of you who've never opened up a scripture before, Revelation is the very end of what we know as the Bible. And there you're going to find a passage that speaks about certain people on this earth who call themselves Jews and are not. Verse 9, I know your works and pressure and poverty, yet you are rich. And the blasphemy of those, the disrespect of those who say that they are Yahudim, your translation may say Jews, and are not, but are a congregation of Shaitan, Satan. These are the people, not the ones right now who are calling themselves Jews and are not. The people who they have learned from, which are from the original Jews, and those of you who know who the original Jews are, they're melanated. These are the same people who veered away from the truth and picked up a Babylonian understanding. The Babylonian understanding, they started following the celestial signs in the skies. They changed the times and the seasons to say that a day begins in the evening when the scripture clearly states that a day begins when the sun rises. Yes, I'm sure there's some of you that say, no, 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 you just read from Genesis chapter 1 that it was evening and then it was morning and it was day one. Pump your brakes, pull the car over and get out. Smell the coffee. We're gonna look into this later. These people, the original Jews, wrote in what we know as the Babylonian Talmud. And I don't want to get too deep and confuse some of you into some of these books of these rabbinical teachings of these rabbis, their oracle teachings, or their oral teachings, rather, excuse me, that they have shared and have promoted over the centuries, have said that the seventh day, as we know it today, that has been given to us by the Gregorian calendar, which they changed by, mind you, by the way, if you go back and you look into it, and we did a study on this a few weeks ago, where the Julian calendar by Julius Caesar, his week was 10 days, okay? Not 7 days, it was a 10-day week. How would you consider yourself understanding what the true seventh day is if you're going by the people who gave you the Gregorian calendar? The Gregorian calendar comes after the Julian calendar. Pope Gregory, I believe it was the 13th was his number, decided to, he saw that there was errors in the Julian calendar of keeping time. So he decided to change the calendar back to a 7-day work, or 6 days and a 7th day. So a 7-day week. This happened in October, and I can't remember the year. We can look into it, but nonetheless, or you can look into it. Nonetheless, the Gregorian calendar is what we're all on to this day, this modern day. We're all following the Gregorian calendar. So they shifted the days of the week. Now we're told in the book of Revelation, in the book of Genesis, again, chapter 1, let's look at verse 14. There's something very key here that a lot of us just look right over. Verse 14 says, and Alua Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse or the firmament of the Shamayim, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs. Let what be for signs? The lights in the sky. Let them be for signs and for appointed times. Here it is. And for days and years. Days is how we count our days. We're supposed to count it by these orbs in the sky. If you was to do a study, which is what we're doing right now, of the Gregorian calendar, you will understand that the days of the week are not attached to the sun, the moon, nor the stars in the sky. They just said, here's the calendar and this is what we're going to follow. The year is going to begin in the dead of winter. The next day is going to start at the stroke of midnight. They changed the times. And then they named the days of the week. You see, when we was reading this earlier, you will notice that Yahuwah never, the creator of heaven and earth, he never named the days of the week. The only day, if you want to call it a name, is the Sabbath, the Shabbat. Translation in the English, it would just literally just mean rest. It's the day of rest. The seventh day was known as the day of rest. We call it Shabbat in the Hebrew. No other day was given a term like the seventh day. But the Romans decided to change it for us in this time to where we're calling it by a deity, Saturn, Saturnalia. This is a disguise of Shaitan, Satan. Satan has always wanted to change things. He wants the worship. So for those of you who always want to make sure that your Sabbath, notice I said your Sabbath, not Yahuwah's Sabbath, not the Creator's Sabbath, your Sabbath, you want it to always fall on Satan's day. That's right, Satan's day. Saturday is Satan's day. Look at what the world does on Satan's day. They celebrate the weekend. Who are they celebrating it to? Not to the creator of heaven and earth. No. They're celebrating the nemesis, his nemesis, the adversary, also known as Satan. It's his day. So you want to equate the Sabbath, the seventh day of rest of Yahuwah, and you want to equate it with Satan, also known as Saturn's day? This is the same thing that they did with the imagery of our Messiah. They took the name and they changed his name. They took the image and they changed the image. They took the doctrine and they changed the doctrine. And now they've taken the calendar and they've changed the calendar. Saturday, Satan's day, is not the Sabbath. There are years where the Sabbath will fall on Satan's day, but every Saturday, as you and I have been taught, is not the Sabbath, nor is it Yahuwah, the Creator's rest day. Let me show you something in the book of Jubilees. I'm going to be reading out of what is called the Complete Apocrypha. You need to read some of these books that you have been told not to even look at, okay? Don't let anyone tell you what you can and cannot read, but let me at least give you a full warning. Do not read something without studying to put a protection over your mind, what we call the Tanakh. You may call it the Old Testament. You need to have a foundation of the Old Testament, the Tanakh, before reading any apocryphal material or anything that people have called apocryphal material. Because if you don't, and you just take it in, it's going to change your understanding. And you can be led astray by some of these false apocryphal books. Now, I will say, according to what I have read, and that's all I can do is give you what I have understood, the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, these two books line up with scripture. I can't speak of the second book of Enoch. I can't speak of the third book of Enoch, but the first book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees connects with scripture, what we know as the Old Testament. I want to take you here to Jubilees chapter 2, where it speaks about the Sabbath. And I want you guys to notice something and read this with me. Hold on, as soon as it gets itself here. Okay, so look at this. I see people who came in here, they were interested. I hope that there was some seeds that were planted in them as they are finding their way out the door. They thought we must have been a Christian organization, and we're not. We're far from it. We speak against Christianity, and it's not because Christianity is evil to the core. No, they have taken the teachings of our Messiah and they have twisted it. They have taken the credit of our true Messiah, Yahusha, and gave the credit to another deity. But that's a whole nother time for a whole nother study. But let's look at this here. This is Jubilees chapter 2, starting at verse 17. And he, that is Yahuwah, gave us a great sign, the Shabbat day. Not Saturday, not what you think is the Sabbath. This is the day that he's given us. It's a great sign that we should work 6 days, but keep the Sabbath on the seventh day from all work. And all the malachim of the presence, and all the malachim of purification, these two great classes, he, Yahuwah, the Creator, has hidden us to keep the Sabbath with him in heaven. You see, what you know as a 7-day week is not an invention that started in the book of Genesis, chapter 1. The Creator of heaven and earth has been keeping this with his angels in his abode, what you and I have been calling heaven. There's a timepiece up there. Just like when the Creator told Moses, you are to make a replica of what you've seen in heaven, you are to fashion the tabernacle as exactly what you have seen. Yahuwah revealed and has given Moses, an opportunity to see the furnishings of heaven and his temple, his tabernacle in heaven. And so he made a replica of it here on the earth when him and the children of Yasharah were in the wilderness for 40 years. So it is with the Sabbath. The timepiece that we know as 6 days work, 7th day of rest, did not start here on the earth. It started in heaven. Yahuwah is the author of time. He is the one who invented time. And so it goes on here and it says, and he said unto us, to the angels, not to any of mankind, but to the angels, behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these will keep the Sabbath day, and I will set them apart unto myself as a people, my people, and will barak them as I have set apart the Sabbath day, and do set apart it unto myself. Even so I shall barak them, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their mighty one. So we see here that he's talking about how the Sabbath day is set apart. It is not what we understand through our customarily counting of days of the week. It's a different counting system. You're saying, wait a minute, what's so hard about counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? The problem is you're not connecting it to the sun, the moon, and the stars. Saturday is not connected to the sun. Saturday is not even connected to the moon. Saturday is not even connected to the stars. So how do you know that that day is the Sabbath? Let me show you why I'm saying that. Let's go back to the 4th day. Again, for those of you who might not know about the book of Jubilees, this is another book that Moses wrote that was given to him by this angel, as the angel was commissioned by Yahuwah, the Creator, to give to Moses. And one of the things that we see here in this 2nd chapter about the 4th day, just like we read in Genesis chapter 1, starting at verse 14 about the 4th day, is very, very similar. Why? Because it's the same person who wrote or was given the instruction is Moses. He wrote Genesis and he wrote Jubilees. It was given to him. It's not his understanding. The understanding was given to Moses. And so here, chapter 2, verse 8, it says, and on the 4th day, just like what we just read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, he, Yahuwah, created the sun, the greater light, and the moon, the lesser light, and the stars, and set them in the firmament, in the expanse, as it says in TS 2009, of the Shama, to give light upon the Arats, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And Yahuwah appointed the sun. This is where we have went off track. This is where the Catholic order changed the order of the days of the week, the days of the month, the days of the year, the festival days, everything. They changed it all. Again, Yahuwah appointed the sun, not the moon and not the stars, but the sun only, to be a great sign on the earth. Why the sun? It is for the days, what we know is the days of the week. It is for the Sabbath, the seventh day of the week. It is for months, the 30-day periods that we understand from the book of Enoch. It is for the feast days, the Moadim, what we call our high days, the days that Yahuwah says are his appointed time. And for years, the beginning and the ending of a year. For Sabbath of years, that's 7-year periods, what we call a Shemitah year, okay? And Yobalim or Jubilees, that's 50-year periods. It's actually counted as 7 times 7, okay? So it'd be 49 years. But after the 49th year, the 50th year, which would also be the first year to count again another 50 years. So the 50th year is the first year because you're counting again another 7 and another 7 and another 7 until you get to 7 times 7, which is 49 years. And the next year is the 50th year. That is called a Jubilee. And it's for the sun is for the seasons of the years. It is by the sun, as all of you know, who's been living on this earth, the sun lets you know when it's the seasons, not the moon, not the stars. When the sun is very high up in the sky, at a certain time of the year, we call that summer. When the sun is very low in the sky, we all call that winter. These are the seasons. When the sun goes through these portals, these gates that we read about in the book of Enoch, chapter 72, it tells us that it's going in from one season to the next season, from spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter, and then winter back to spring. These are the transitional days, or as they call it in some of the books, like the book of Enoch, intercalary days. 4 times a year. They are the 2 equinoxes and the 2 solstices. This is what governs what we know as the seasons. Now, with this being said, all of you can look at our days of the week as we count them as it is to this day. Your Saturday is not connected to the sun. You can ask anybody you want. You can ask a person who works at NASA. You can ask your pastor, your preacher, your teacher. You can ask a scientist. You can ask an astronomer. You can ask whoever you want and ask them, how do we know that Saturday is Saturday based on the sun? None of them can give you an answer. You can look it up right now on your laptop, on your phone. How is the 7th-day Saturday connected to the sun? It's not. Why? Because it's been made up. It was made up by Satan. Satan gave it to the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church gave it to the world. This is the problem with anyone like the Christian Covenant Calendar people or the Zadok Way Ministries people, or anyone who wants to try to use the 364-day calendar count and goes away from the true counting. You are still in paganism by following Sabbath on a Saturday. Saturday belongs to Satan. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Saturday belongs to Satan. It's his day, not Yahuwah's day. So now this brings us to today. Let me bring up another passage, or another passage, but let me show you something else. Give me a second as I pull it up. Let's see, where is my, here it is, folder on the temple and the calendar. And this is not the one. I'm looking for a picture that I have here. Give me a second. Let me see if I can locate it. I thought I had it already set up, and I do not. That's no problem. Let me go ahead and pull it back up here. Let me do this. Let me open this up. Saturn and the Star of David. Saturn and the Star of David. How many of you know that Saturn and what they call the Star of David have a lot to do with each other? Did any of you ever know this? Let me show you this picture. What you see on the left, if this is a true picture or imagery of the North Pole of what they call the planet Saturn, regardless, the fact of the matter is, this is what people believe that it looks like, this hexagonal shape at the top. 6 points. You can see it. They overlay the 6-pointed star known as the Star of David. You'll also notice a 3-dimensional cube, also known as the black cube. This all has to do with Satan worship, Saturn worship. I hope you guys are seeing this. This is not by accident. This is not by coincidence. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about Saturn or Satan's worship. Why would the Star of David, who these people who call themselves Jews and are not, use that as their star on their flag? Why do we see people in the IUIC camps who call themselves Hebrew Israelites have this same 6-pointed star on their apron, on their head bandana, on their armband, on their medallions? They're all using this same pagan worship, this star of their God, as it says in the Old Testament, in the Tanakh. You worship your deity, Moloch. You see, Moloch is Saturn in the Old Testament. There's nothing new under the sun. This 6-pointed star predates Judaism. This 6-pointed star goes all the way back to Babylon. So how in the world would the 7th day called Saturn's Day or Saturday have anything to do with Yahuwah's rest? It doesn't. But this is another spell that has been put on Yahuwah's people. And people who are coming out of Christianity thinking that they are now closer to the Creator because they are now keeping Saturday Sabbath. This is not of Yahuwah. They'll try to back this all the way back and say, well, JESUS kept Saturday Sabbath. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That wasn't the calendar that they were using at that time. This calendar that we're using today is not the calendar that they were using at that time. But you will have people, especially in Christian circles, who will tell you, according to those people that they think are Jews and are not, following their same error and their same mistake, thinking that Saturday is the Sabbath day. And not only that, that it starts in the evening when it actually should be starting at daybreak. All of this, if you just did a little bit of research in Scripture, not online, in Scripture, you can find that it's wrong, that it's erroneous, that Saturday is not the Sabbath day. Let's look at some of these things about Saturn's day. Because you see, this is the problem, like Yahuwah says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. They just want to take in tradition. Tradition will mess you up every single time. I want to play something for you all. Give me a second as I cue it up here. Let me go back here. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, here we go.
Well, shalom, shalom. I'm Barbara, and I'm always short and sweet. Saturn worship, the black cube, and the Star of David. Well, the black cube stands out as a particularly intriguing emblem that is associated with Saturn. And before the Great Flood, Saturn was regarded by all mankind as the supreme god and ruler of the kings. Occult researchers affirm that Saturn ruled the kingdom of Atlantis and became the divine ancestor of all earthly patriarchs and kings. The Saturn cult is ingrained into every aspect of our life. Yet the true significance of Saturn can be found within secret societies and in the deepest underpinnings of religions. So the black cube is Saturn in material form, a shape that represents finite reality, hard boundaries, and rigid structure.
Real quick, I wanna point out, and I see somebody is on it, Tribe of Dan, exactly. They put this black cube, and you guys have probably seen these Jewish people with what looks like a black cube on their forehead, and they're doing their little bowing and bouncing like a duck in front of the Western Wall. But yes, this all has to do with association to Saturn, satanic worship. Let's continue.
It is the ultimate symbol of restriction, whether in the form of physical, mental, or spiritual constraints. Its shape is perfect, 6 sides, 6 corners, and 6 edges. Well, the cult of the black cube. The Saturn occult has been behind every great empire through history. This cult is made up of many famous individuals in Hollywood, politics, sports, music, and religion. In our world, the world we live in now, the cult of the black cube is hoarding esoteric knowledge for himself and also practicing black magic. And during the Super Bowl and halftime shows and other musical performances, we can see the Saturn cult performing rituals or acting out historical and religious events under the guise of theatrical dance. The elites worship the black cube, the cult of Saturn. And you'll see these black cubes all over the world: Australia, Denmark, Manhattan, Santa Ana, New York, of course, we just mentioned. You'll see them in Arabia. The black cube is known everywhere, but we didn't know what it meant or what it was symbolized. Well, Saturn's North Pole hexagon is a massive, persistent, 6-sided cloud pattern or jet stream. And this is the planet Saturn, and there is a cube or hexagonal feature in the very center of the North Pole of Saturn. And here you can see it outlined. Well, the cube also fits inside the center of the Star of David. Very interesting. Here it is. So the cube has 6 points, and the triangle here, the Star of David, has 6 points, 6 triangles, 6 sides, 6, 6, 6. There is Saturn worship. Saturn worship is your reality. Saturn worship is everywhere in all our corporations, religions, and advertising. The cube represents Saturn. It's worshipped in Mecca. It's worshipped by the Jews. And you'll see them wearing the black cube on their heads. You'll see it in the Soviet Union. You'll see it in the Masons. And I'm going to show you a few pictures here. The black cube in Masonry. The Masonic symbol of the compass and square are just a representation of the symbol of Saturn, and the Freemasons have long used the symbolism of the black cube in their rituals. Here we have it, a 6-sided polygon, a 3D cube. We know about Mecca, the Kaaba, and there's more here. The North Pole of Saturn, like I said, is a hexagon, fits into the Star of David. Here we have it in many places throughout the world. Various religious systems as a whole operate under the influence of Saturn. The roots of numerous religions establish a fixed framework with a Satan-Saturn influence. And here's the 3 big monotheistic religions, and they bind themselves to dogmas and external rites that bind them to forms of Saturn worship. Here we are again with the hexagram, the star, and the cube. The black cube is centered in that star.
I want you guys to look at this. Here you can see how this six-pointed star, the star of Ranfan, also known as in scripture, Hinduism has it, Buddhism has it, Mormonism has it, of course, Satanism, Judaism has it, Catholicism has it right there. You can see it on the Mitri, on the head of the Pope, on the mouth of Dagon. Islam, the five-pointed star, the pentagram, okay, upside down, just like we see a lot of witches and Wiccans use. Okay, all of this is witchcraft. Freemasonry, Gnosticism. Yeah, let's continue.
Catholicism, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, Freemasons, Mormons, Satanism, and Gnosticism. Here's the hugest black cube that we know of, the Kaaba in Mecca. And the Muslims, we know, take a pilgrimage there to a building shaped like a black cube, and they run around the outside in circles going counterclockwise, and that is representing the rings of Saturn. The practitioners of Semitic religions wear phylacteries on their forehead and arm while they pray, and they are small black cubes. Here we have it in all the signs and symbols, the star, and remember inside the star is the black cube. So the cube represents the material world and space-time, capturing the structured and confined nature of earthly reality and representing the temple or a structure. So here's the Apple Fifth Avenue store in New York City, and it's famous for its luminous, transparent glass cube. So here we have the six-pointed star, six triangles, 60-degree angles, six-sided hexagram. Remember what it says in Acts 7:43? And ye took up the tabernacle of Molech and the star of your god Remphan, figures which you made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. So remember, Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So please like it. This is a blessing to you, and please share it with your friends so that they will know what all this representation means, and it's a form of worship of Saturn. Revelation 18:4 says that I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers in her sins and receive not of her plagues. And remember, I'm short and sweet, and I'll see you next time, Yah willing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Okay. BT Reform, you said, why aren't we talking about Yahuwah? This is all about Yahuwah. This is the whole reason why I have to share this kind of stuff, because again, we're talking about the calendar. Whose calendar? Not Satan's calendar, Yahuwah's calendar. So I have to show you the opposite to bring the truth, okay? If you're not happy with the way I'm doing this, please, you can always start your own channel and you can do however you want to do it. Please don't take it personal. All right. So let's continue. So the reason why I showed that to you, so you know it's not from my own understanding, nor is it my own opinion. Saturn is Satan worship. It is Satan's worship. Bottom line, that's it. Okay. That is crazy that we have so much Satanism around us and we don't know how to make the distinction between the two. All right. Hold on one second. Rem 144, please, ma'am, if you don't mind, if you want to bring up something that I talked about yesterday, you can always email me. Okay. But not at this moment. We're not going to get into this feminism stuff. All right. I can see that you might have a problem with this, Rem, but you can always contact me personally, okay? All right. So, again, as I was saying, we have to dissect these lies to understand the truth. Because if you don't know what the deception is, you're not going to be able to see the truth. That is the spell that has been put on all of us. Okay? That is the spell that has been put on all of us. Yahuwah is opening up the minds of his people right now. And so he's deprogramming a lot of us because of the things that we have been literally saturated with all around us. Like there's a lot of people right now. Some of you are probably one eye on the Super Bowl and one eye on what we're doing right now here on the Shabbat. It shouldn't be so. This is a day unto Yahuwah. When we read Isaiah chapter 58, he says that if you will make this day an esteemed day unto Yahuwah, he will then allow you to ride on the heights of the Shamayim. All right? Our thoughts are not supposed to be what we're thinking about today. We're supposed to be thinking about him. This is what I'm doing. Every Shabbat, this is what we're doing. It's always about Yahuwah. It's all about Yahuwah. It's not about Satan. We have to speak of the adversary because of his things that he has done to all of us so that we can understand how it is to truly worship Yahuwah. Maybe you already know this, but there's other people that are in here. It's their first time and they don't know this. So please be patient with those who don't see what you already know. It's not always about you. It's about others that need to be fed. So now, here we have some more information I need to bring to you. So just like it said there, and she brought up this beautiful passage from what Stephanos, the first martyr after the Messiah had left, in the book of Acts, chapter 7. Let's read that real quick. This is where he was about to be unalived. And those who were the Yahudim at the time, who wanted to continue in the lie, who did not want to come into the truth, who didn't realize that Yahusha is the Mashiach, they were about to stone him to death. So here it says here, and you took up the tent of Malak and the star of your mighty one, Kiyun, images which you made to bow before them. Therefore, I shall remove you beyond Babal or Babylon. Let me read this also in the New King James. Give me a second as I bring it out. Okay, so here we go here. And this is going to be in the New King James. Let's go over here. 7:43, Acts 7:43. And so it says, you also took up the tabernacle of Malak, the star of your God Renfan, images which you have made to worship, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. So again, this passage here, we're talking about this star, the star of Renfan. This has to do with Saturn worship. So let me show you the star of Renfan. If you just put it into any search engine, the star of Renfan, what you're going to see. So it goes into this whole thing here. The star of Renfan is mentioned in the Bible, specifically 7:43 of Acts, where it is associated with idolatrous worship and believed to refer to the planet Saturn. Do you see that? Refers to the planet Saturn. It is linked to the Hebrew term Kiyun or Chiun, which also denotes a false deity, worshipped by the Israelites, influenced by the surrounding pagan cultures, just like it's happening today. So much paganism. So let's look at this, what the image looks like. What is the star of Renfan? There it is. It's the same one that's on what they call this the state of Israel's flag. But as many of you already know, this country, the United States of America, is inundated with this mindset of Ranfan, of Saturn. Let me show you. Let me see here. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it here. Is it here? Yes. You all know this from the back of your dollar bill. This is another way of seeing this star with the all-seeing eye. Notice this. Notice the words that, or the letters that it makes into this star in certain areas here. You have the M, A, S, O, N, Mason. Okay? Freemasonry. But let me show you this also. Let me bring you up here. All right. Let me see if I can get a clear picture of this. I don't know why they're not showing one where it's usually they show you the front and the back. And I don't see, well, we can use this one here. Okay, let me pull this one up. Now, this is what we were just looking at. And of course, it was overlaid with a Star of David, or what is known as the Star of Ranfan, over this pyramid. Okay? Back of the US dollar bill. The other side of this Great Seal of the United States of America, this is the coin of the Great Seal of the United States. This is the other side of that coin. You see it right here. Okay, but notice what's on top of the eagle. It's a six-pointed star with 13 stars within the six-pointed star. I've shared this with you all before, but there's some of you that don't know. What's interesting about this six-pointed star on top of this eagle of the United States of America, this thing was put together. It wasn't a recent invention. It started almost literally at the beginning of this country's inception. So let me show you this. Let's ask this question. I think it was 1781 was when it was put together. When, doing all this with one hand here, when was the Great Seal of the U.S. created? Question mark. And let's see what it says. Let's go here. The Great Seal of the United States of America was officially adopted by Congress on June 20th, 1782. After several years of discussion and design proposals, the process began shortly after the Declaration of Independence in 1776. So why am I sharing this with you all? About this Great Seal that you'll see even on the podium of who we know as the President of the United States. You'll see the same six-pointed star above the eagle. This mindset of this Jewish understanding has been in this country since the very inception of this country. It's always been Saturn worship. So when you see the word "in God we trust" all over the monetary system, it is not talking about the creator of heaven and earth. It is talking about Satan. It is talking about Saturn. It is talking about Lucifer. It is talking about the devil. No wonder why the scripture says, "I know those who call themselves Jews and are not. They are the followers or the synagogue of Satan." And again, why did I have to bring all this up? Because there are many of you, you may know some people who want to continue to keep Saturday as the Sabbath. That is not the sign that Abba Yahuwah gave his people. They're equating this, and if you can't make all the connections and connect the dots, what I've just shared with you today, and that was just kind of compressed, it goes a lot deeper, and you can do your own studies on this. It's not hard, it's not difficult, okay? But Saturn, the six-pointed star, the star of Ranfan, Moloch, Saturnalia, Christmas, all of this is together, conjoined together with a people who call themselves Jews and are not. And they're the ones who's telling the world when the Sabbath is, and the Sabbath is on a Saturday. And you want to continue to connect the Sabbath with Saturday? This is against Yahuwah's commandment. Again, if we go and look at the 10 commandments, let's go back. I'm going to read this from the scriptures. Exodus chapter 20. Let's do this. The fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath day. How are you going to remember the Sabbath day if you are connecting it and not understanding that the Sabbath that has been given to you is a deception? The Sabbath that you think belongs on a Saturday is a deception, but you can't see your way through the woods because you continue to want to keep the traditions of Satan. This is not scriptural. You are to set it apart. Why does he say to set that day apart? How do you set aside a day that is to be the Sabbath, the day of rest? Well, you have to understand Abba Yahuwah's instruction. You have to understand what the true calendar is. This is why I've been saying, and I'll again restate it. Yahuwah in these last days has given us one of the final pieces, and it's called his calendar. It's the restoration of his calendar. He has restored the true timepiece that has been hidden from us all these centuries. Some of you have a hard time understanding this, and it's because you cannot seem to let go of the pagan counting system of days. Let me ask you a question, and it's rhetorical. If you was stuck in a cave, those of you who want to keep a Saturday Sabbath, if you was stuck in a cave and you say, well, we understand that there's a 364-day calendar count. Okay, wonderful. And you say you understand that the beginning of the year is supposed to start on the spring equinox. Again, okay, wonderful. And I put you into a cave. You come out and you see that you came out of the cave on the spring equinox. You do the straight line shadow, you do your markings with the sundial, with a stick in the ground, and you see that the sun, from the time that it comes up in the eastern horizon and sets in the western horizon, and you're like, wow, we got a straight line. Today is the Sabbath. For those of you who want to keep a Saturday Sabbath, how are you going to find out your so-called Saturday as a Sabbath? And you don't know what day of the week it is according to your understanding, because you think that the Sabbath is always supposed to be on Saturn's day. How would you find that out? I'll answer it for you, hence why it's rhetorical. You can't. You won't know. But Yahuwah hasn't keep us in the blind like that to not know the days of the week, because that's why his days of the week are connected to the sun. Your days of the week that has been given to you by the Catholic Church is not connected to the sun, and hence Saturday is not the Sabbath. Saturday belongs to Satan. This is why anyone who is using a calendar that is different than the one Yahuwah is telling us to keep, and you cannot do this same kind of test that I'm saying to you by, if you was in, theoretically speaking, in a cave and you had no understanding of what day of the week it is, you're literally deprived of what day it is. You're stuck in a dark cave. You don't know if the sun has come up. You don't know if the sun has gone down. You don't even know how many days you were in the cave. How could you say that Saturday is the Sabbath? You can't, because it's not connected to the sun. Dead giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. That lets you know that that is not the seventh day of the work week, or the seventh day, what we know as the rest day. But the way Yahuwah did it, you see from the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is why people want to keep on adding, and they keep doing it. There's people that are a lot older than me, who are elders, who have been trying to look into this information, that they continue to get stuck on these pagan days of the week, how it was given to us. And you cannot connect it to Saturday. Why am I saying that? Because there are people, there are ministries that are telling people that if the spring equinox happened on a Thursday on their pagan week, which would be what? The 5th day of their pagan week. They say, because they've read the Dead Sea Scrolls, they understand some of the Dead Sea Scroll. I say some of the Dead Sea Scroll because if they understood it, they wouldn't make this error. They say, okay, the spring equinox just happened, but we know that the first day of the year has to happen on the 4th day of the week. But their brain continues to connect the 4th day of the week to a Wednesday. How would you know that that's a Wednesday unless somebody told you that that was a Wednesday? Yahuwah didn't tell you that's the 4th day of the week. Man told you that was the 4th day of the week. And then you want to count 3 days after that and say, okay, now that's Saturday. This is our Sabbath. So this is what they do. They take what they know as the spring equinox. The spring equinox happens, SQ. The spring equinox happens. Let me put that in black so you guys can see. The spring equinox happened. And again, let's say Thursday just happened. Well, the spring equinox happened on their Wednesday of the pagan week, Wednesday. They won't start that day. They'll start the very next Wednesday, because they say that it has to be where the Sabbath is always on a Saturday. That's nowhere in any of the writings, not in the Dead Sea Scrolls, not in any of the Apocryphas, meaning in Enoch or in Jubilees. It's not in any of the canonical books that we know from Genesis to Revelation. No, this is a man-made construct to say that that Wednesday is the fourth day of Yahuwah's calendar. That is not anywhere in the book. This is why I gave you the analogy of someone being locked up in a cave and they had no idea, and they're literally light deprived. They don't know if the sun's coming up or going down. They don't know how many days they've been in the calendar. They are in the cave. They have no idea what day of the pagan week it is. All they know, by their understanding, if they take the Dead Sea Scrolls for what it has been given to us, what has been written in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I'm getting ready to show you, it says that the first day of the year happens on the 4th day of the week. But because of our understanding, which is what a lot of these ministries are doing with their calendars, they're saying that that 4th day of the week has to be a Wednesday. That's where the error happens. Because again, you are taking something that Yahuwah has not given us and you're making it part of his calendar. So you're still blending paganism with the truth. Pagan weekdays with the true weekdays. They don't fit. They're two different counts, two different patterns. One's connected to the sun and the other one is not connected to anything but men's traditions, which has been given to us by Satan. If you all understand what I'm saying, let me back that up. If you don't understand what I'm saying and you still think the 4th day of the week is supposed to be a Wednesday, give me a 1. It's not an attack on you. I just want to make sure that I clarify it a little more clearly in case you don't understand it. Give me a 1 if you don't understand what I have just presented. I see you, Whistle. I see you, Daily Bread. I see you, Brandon. Okay. And the reason why I had to ask that question is because now I'm going to show you here in the Dead Sea Scrolls, so you can see here, the complete Dead Sea Scrolls in English. The one that I have here is by Giza Vermes. And even Giza Vermes, I'm going to show you here, you're going to see in parentheses where he's going to still use pagan days. That's where the error occurs. So the Dead Sea Scrolls does not read off like your scriptures. It's more of an archaeological book, okay, in this sense, because it's been fragmented. So we have all of the writings. Most of it broke up like into little pieces of puzzles, and some of it they were able to put back together, and some of it is lost to time. But I want to show you something here. Excuse me. Still getting over this cold. So let me find this passage. Okay. So this is Q400, fragment number Q400. Okay. 4Q400. Notice what I have underlined in the red. To the master, the songs of the Holocaust of the first Sabbath on the 4th of the first month. Notice it says on the 4th of the first month. Okay. So think about a month, and I'm going to show you our calendar. This was our last year's calendar. I want to thank our Cody Jackie C for putting this together. Appreciate you, Cody. And she has already completed for the second year, but we're not going to release the next year until after the spring equinox. So let me show you this here. I have a hard copy. Here you see the word Kadash. Kadash in the Hebrew would be what we know as renew, okay? This is where we would use in the English a word month, all right? A period, a 30-day period. Every month has 30 days in it, except for every third month, which is the transition from one season to the next. It'll have 31 days instead of 30. But nonetheless, notice here, spring equinox. The word yom here is day. This is the 4th day, okay? Spring equinox, Rosh Kadash, meaning the head of the month. We also cite Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19. The sun casts a straight line shadow upon the earth, Psalms 19, verse 4. Ecclesiastes 7, 10 to 13. Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. This is the first day of the year. Now, remember what we just read. Let me take it back to you and so you can see it. Again, to the master, song of the Holocaust of the first Sabbath on the 4th of the first month. So it's telling us the first Sabbath of the year is on the 4th day of the first month. This is the first month of the year. Here's the Sabbath, the 7th day, 7th Yom, Shabbat. You can see it here, faded, but you can see the number 4. There's the number 3. Here you can see the number 2. And here you can see the number 1. So what you're seeing here is the original calendar. We're not adding no Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Definitely not Saturn's day. Okay, we're going to let the sun be the marker because this is what we were told in the book of Jubilees, that this is why Yahuwah has appointed the sun. The sun has been appointed for days, for Sabbaths, for months, for years, and so on. Okay, so it's the sun, not the moon. You have people who are following the moon. That's a whole nother calendar, a whole nother fake system that has been given to us by the Babylonians, and the Jewish people are using that. And you have Hebrew roots movement people that are using that. And you have people that are coming into this truth and they're going back to the so-called moon calendar, the lunar calendar, and they want to call it luni-solar calendar, but there's no sun involved in it at all. They're really just using the lunar cycle, every 7 days of the phases of the moon. I can show you again through scripture in the book of Jubilees that is an error to do. But again, that's another teaching when we're talking about the lunar cycle and the lunar months. That is wrong. That is not the calendar. This is the calendar. This calendar was followed by John the Baptist and his disciples. Yes, the same John that immersed our Messiah in the Jordan River. This is why those parchments of what we call the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in the caves of Qumran, which is next to the Jordan River, which is right by where the Jordan River empties into the Dead Sea, hence the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is where we get this information from. So the first Sabbath of the year is going to fall on the fourth day of the week, or excuse me, the fourth day of the month, the very first month of the year. Now, let me show you a little bit more to give a better clarification. Now, I'm going to show you what Giza Vermes had done with his error, and it's caused a lot of error in a lot of people who are following this. Now, let me show you this here. So I'm going to read this. It says, the following table will help readers understand the relationship between the priestly courses on weekly duties, the solar dates, the moon phases, and the feast days falling in month in question. So here it says here, first month of the first year in a 6-year cycle. Bold number is the feast. This cross would be a new moon. Double cross would be a full moon. But notice how they have, and I put it here, pagan confusion. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There was no reason for him to put this here. Okay. He made this table. This wasn't found in the Qumran caves with any of the parchments. This causes confusion. This causes you to always make your Sabbath a Saturn's day. Okay. This is an issue. This is a problem. Notice how they say the first day of the year starts on a Wednesday. Why do they put it that way? Because remember, the first Sabbath happens on the fourth day of that month. They connect it to Saturday. So all of this here is supposed to be on a Saturday, which again is a lie. It's erroneous. This has been put here by Giza Vermes, who should have known better, just allowing the text to speak for itself and just follow the instructions. Don't add to the instructions. But this is what we continue to do time and time again as man. We constantly add or we take away from the information. This is why Yahuwah says, do not take away and do not add to his word. And yet we still see man doing this. So you see the confusion already happening here. So then you read here, and it goes on and says here, to show it from the east and to cause it to shine in the middle of the heaven, in the foundation of creation from evening till morning. So there is a full moon. He puts this here, this information. On the fourth day in the week, the sons of Gamul, in the first month of the first year. This is talking about the first day of the year. The fourth day in the week, the fourth day in the week, they put here the pagan day, Wednesday. No need for that, but they're going to use it anyway. This is the one is causing the confusion. If you take it for what it is, and if the spring equinox, because again, the spring equinox, let me show you what it says here. And it's going to happen once again on March 20th on the pagan calendar. So I'm going to ask, what or when is the spring equinox? Of 2026 pagan year. This here, March equinox, Friday. They give you the pagan date when it's going to fall on, March 20th. Now, if you follow some of these ministries, they see that the equinox doesn't happen on a Wednesday, so they can't start their year on a Wednesday on when the spring equinox happens, because it's not going to fall on a Wednesday. So they're going to take it upon themselves, where nowhere in any inscription or any text tells them to advance the days to the very next Wednesday to make sure that your Sabbath is on a Saturday. Do you understand so far what I'm saying? Give me a 1 if you understand. All right, I see many of you understand. So here, again, Friday, March 20th is going to be the spring equinox. All right. Now, let me show you this calendar, the pagan calendar. We're going to go to March. Here it is. You see it says March here at the top, right here, March. It's the 20th. It lands on a Friday. These people, because they always want their Sabbath to be on a Saturday, they're not going to start their year yet. They're going to wait. 21 goes, 22nd day, 23rd day, 24th day. This is when they're going to start their first day of the year. Because the Sabbath is already, the spring equinox has already occurred. And so since they can't allow the word just to be the word, they got to manipulate the word to make sure that it falls on a Saturn's day. So they're going to wait till the very following Wednesday, which is going to be on the 25th of March. And then they're going to count 3 days later and say, okay, in their mind, we're back on schedule. We're on a Sabbath, Saturday Sabbath. That's nowhere in the original text of what we know as the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's a man-made interpolation of what they're doing to the word. You're going to add days before you even start your count? Where is that in the Dead Sea Scroll? Where is that in the book of Jubilees? Where is that in the book of Enoch? You're not going to find it. Ask any of these people who are teaching this, and they won't have an answer for you. They will just continue to follow a Saturday's Sabbath. And I just showed you through even their own pagan history that Saturn is Satan, and Satan's day is on their so-called Sabbath day. Yahuwah is not connected to that day. I'm telling you, people. And if you want to continue to keep that as your day of rest, because you want to do it along with the rest of the people, especially those who call themselves Jews and are not, and it clearly tells you that they are the followers of Satan in Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9, by all means, do what you want to do. But as for me and my house, like Yahusha says, Joshua says, we're going to serve Yahuwah. We're going to follow his commandments. We're going to follow his calendar. We're not following and we're not adding nor taking away from his days of the calendar week. Let me show you a few more. We're going to get to the day of the Sabbath. Just give me a chance, you guys. I got to build this foundation. It's not to keep you in suspense. It's so that you're not confused. Just to say this, right now, our Sabbath is today. Today is the Sabbath. Okay? It's not like this every year, again, because you have to understand how to keep the count. The count is being kept by the sun. Once again, if I show it to you, don't forget, please look into this matter for yourself. Jubilees chapter 2. Jubilees chapter 2. What does it state there? Verse 9. And Yahuwah appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feast or high days, and for years, and for Sabbath of years, 7-day period or 7-year periods, Jubilees, 50-year periods, and for all the seasons, your seasons of the years. Again, it's the sun who dictates all this, not some imaginary 7-day week. Not because an institution called the Catholic Church gave you a Gregorian calendar and says this is the calendar. We don't use that calendar. We use it while we're in Rome because we're in that empire. We're still under the Roman Empire today, okay? The Roman Empire has not fallen. Proof is in the calendar. Proof is in the United States of America. Look at the country who is the superpower of the earth. As it says in the book of Jeremiah, the hammer of the earth. When she raises up her banner, all the others are scared. This is this country. This country is the military arm of the Vatican. London is the financial arm of the Vatican. And the Vatican is the religious arm of Catholicism, or what we know as Christianity. So that three-headed monster, the three frogs, if you will, from the book of Revelation, is the one that causes all the earth to follow this calendar called the Gregorian calendar. She is the one who's dictating to all the leaders of the earth, you make your people, your subjects, your citizens of the world follow this calendar. For those of you who have been following, when the so-called pagan New Year started in January 1st, and I had you guys, I said, look, watch CNN. Watch whatever news network you want to, cable news network you want to. Watch what happens at the stroke of midnight from every time zone on the earth. It doesn't matter what their religion is. Just watch what happens. Soon as it hit Tokyo, fireworks goes off. Happy New Year. It hits Shanghai, China, fireworks goes off. It hits Dubai, a Muslim country, fireworks goes off. Hong Kong, fireworks goes off. These are people who follow different religions, but yet the Roman Catholic Church is dictating to them what the calendar is to the whole world. They're all following the same 7-day rule. Why? Because you need to know this calendar to have commerce with Rome. You're going to go to school, you need to know this calendar, or you're going to be on the wrong day to go to school. You have an appointment to keep with the doctor. If you don't keep this Roman calendar, you're going to be off on your appointment to go to your doctor's appointment. This is how this calendar is ruling our lives and the days of the weeks that are associated with the calendar. This is not Yahuwah's timepiece. And so what Yahuwah is doing for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear is to come back to his calendar. Why is that so important? Because the day is coming, and all of you know and have heard of this thing called the Great Tribulation. When the Messiah says that when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Nabi, who we know as Yirmiyahu, or the word Nabi is prophet, Jeremiah, he says that we are to run. We are to flee. Pray that your flight doesn't happen in the winter or on a Sabbath. That Sabbath he's talking about is not your Saturday Sabbath. It's his Sabbath, not our so-called Sabbath on a Saturn's day. He was foreshadowing and foretelling us that we were going to get the calendar again to restore the true Sabbath day. Pray that your flight doesn't happen on this true Shabbat day. Why? Because just like all of us, you guys are listening to me right now. If the abomination of desolation was to happen at this moment, which is what? The erecting of the third temple, this fake temple, and we don't know that it's going down, the next thing you know, they're going to start marking every man, woman, and child. You didn't understand and you didn't follow the commandments to flee. So now you're behind enemy lines. You're stuck in what they would call, or what we call today, martial law, and you won't be able to get out of your cities, your towns, your villages, unless you're already out of those city limits or town limits. You're supposed to flee because humanity will be your worst enemy if you are a true believer in Yahuwah and you know the days that you're supposed to keep. But how are you going to keep his Shabbat even while you're in the wilderness? Because his commandments is still his commandments. It doesn't change even if you're on the run. And if you don't have the true calendar, you can't keep the fourth commandment. He says it is a sign between him and his people. The true Sabbath is a sign, a marker, an oath that you are his. This is why the calendar is giving back to his people. It's being restored to his people. You wouldn't know how to count the days that we're told in the book of Daniel, 1,290 days, without knowing the true calendar. You wouldn't understand the count in Revelation chapter 12 about how the woman was to flee into the wilderness for 1,260 days to know when Yahuwah is going to crack that sky if you don't have this calendar. The Messiah says you shall know it at the very doors when he's getting ready to crack the sky in the book of Luke. because many of us have no understanding of this calendar, and all we know is the Gregorian calendar. But guess what? Yahuwah loves us so much that he has given it to you. He has given it to me. For those of you, there is not a coincidence nor an accident that you're in this room right now hearing this information. It's not too late for us to understand this. The Great Tribulation is a bad word of a translation. It is truly the great testing. Yahuwah is getting ready to test his people to see if they are going to be obedient to everything that he'll to keep. It's up to you. It's up to me. We have watered down the gospel, as they call it, by thinking all you have to do is believe in the Messiah. The Messiah says no. Let me show you something. Let's go to John chapter 8. As it's coming to my mind at this moment. Let's see, where can we start here? All of this is great information here in John chapter 8. I don't even know where to begin, but let's pick up a spot. Verse 31. Wait. Verse 30. As he was speaking these words, many believed in him. So Yahusha said to those Yahudim, Yahusha being our Messiah's name, who believed in him, if you stay in my word, notice what he's saying, if you stay, if you abide, if you live, if you dwell in my word, you are truly my taught ones. He said his word. Why not his Father's word? Why is the Son saying it's his word? Because the Son is the Father. We talked about this yesterday, but we know that there's some people who wasn't there with us yesterday. So again, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, it says to us that a son has been given, a child has been born, and it talks about how he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty Al, yours may say God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. The Son is the everlasting Father in the flesh. So this is why he says, if you stay in my word, you are truly my taught ones. You are truly my disciples. You are truly my students. And you shall know the truth. The truth is more than just his word. The truth is his calendar. The truth is the true Shabbat. The truth is understanding how to keep his commandments. And you can't do that if you don't have the restored calendar. And he says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set or make you free. They answered him, we are the seed of Abraham. This is what these Pharisees are saying, these Jews who don't believe, and have been servants to no one at any time. How do you say you shall become free? And Yahusha answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone doing, notice the word doing, that's an action word in case you don't know, it's a verb. Doing sin is a servant of sin. That is the breaking of the law. The Messiah didn't talk about doing away with the law. He's saying that everyone doing sin, meaning that you are practicing sin, you are living in sin, you're constantly doing as a habitual sinner, you are a servant, you are a slave to breaking the law. And the servant does not stay in the house forever, but a son stays forever. So if you're not keeping the commandments, you are not considered his child. If you're not keeping the Sabbath, which is the fourth commandment, because again, the 10 commandments have not been done away with, even though there are people who are teaching this, you are not his child. You are not saved. You are not born again. If then the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. I know that you are of the seed of Abraham. He's speaking to these DNA Jews, these natural Jews, native Jews, but you seek to unalive me because my word has no place in you. Because my word, what's his word? His commandments, his statutes, his instructions, has no place in you. I speak what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. So he's making a difference between the true father and this other father. Let's see who this other father is. They answered and said to him, to the Messiah, Abraham is our father. Yahusha, the Messiah, said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. What? What was the works of Abraham? I thought all Abraham did was believe. He believed and it was accounted to him as righteousness. You see, this is the problem with the English language. We say believe, and it's just something that we say or something that we feel or something that we believe in. The Hebrew word for believe is that you are to do something. It's an action word, to believe. Means that you show your belief by your obedience. But now you seek to unalive me, a man who has spoken to you the truth, which I heard from the Mighty One. Abraham did not do this. You do the works of your father. Then they said to him, to the Messiah, we were not born of whoring. We have one father. You see what they're saying to him? They know his background. They know the background of our Messiah. It's like, yeah, we've heard rumors about Mary not knowing who you are as the father. You're a bastard. That's what they're saying to the Messiah. We were not born of whoring, from an adulterous relationship. This is what these people are saying. We have one father, Alua Elohim, Yahusha said to them. If Alua Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I came forth from Alua Elohim, the mighty of mighty ones, and am here. He's telling them right here, I am he. You're looking at him. You're saying that I'm your father, but you don't even know me. He says, for I have not come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not know what I say? Because you are not unable to hear my word. That's the problem with a lot of people today with this calendar. Why do you not understand what the scripture is saying? Why are you adding to the word? Or why are you taking away from his instructions? You are of your father. Now we see who the father is. The devil, Satan, Saturn's day, Saturday, Sabbath. And the desire of your father you wish to do. Satan says, Saturday is Sabbath. You say, I wish to do that. I'm going to keep Saturday as my Sabbath. Ooh, I know I'm hitting below the belt, but it's the truth. Any of you who continually to consistently keep your Sabbath on a Saturn's day, you are of your father, the devil. Below the belt? And the desires of your father you wish to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and has not stood in the truth. Notice that he did not stand in the truth. There's a true Sabbath day and there's a false Sabbath day. Which one are you going to stand in? Which one are you going to do? It's right in your face. Why would you call the Sabbath day a Saturday and associate that with Yahuwah? Because there is no truth in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks of his own, meaning of his own source. For he is a liar and the father of it. He's the father of lies. He's the one who lied to us and told us Saturday is the Sabbath. And he's just laughing along with everybody who's thinking Saturday is the Sabbath. And you may say, but that's your opinion. It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. I'm showing you evidence. You don't have to accept the evidence. You can continue to be blind because you purposely want to hide your eyes from the Sabbath. That takes me to another passage. And before I go there, let me finish this off. And because I speak the truth, you do not believe me. Who of you proves me wrong concerning sin? And if I speak the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of the mighty one hears the words of Alua Elohim. Therefore you do not hear because you are not of Alua Elohim. Those of you who want to continue to keep the Sabbath, the fourth commandment, on Saturn's day, you cannot, for whatever reason, seem to hear the words of our Messiah. He said that he is what? The master of the Shabbat. He is the author, the creator of the seventh day, and you wish not to follow it. The Yahudim answered and said to him, We do not say well that you are of Shamaroni, or to say that you are a Samaritan and you have a demon. Now they're saying not only that he's a byproduct of adultery, but now they're saying that he's a demon. Again, all of this has to do with either you're going to believe the truth or you're going to continue to walk in the lie. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about hiding your eyes from the Sabbath. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 22. Notice what it says here. Verse 26. Her priests, or her preachers and teachers, have done violence to my teaching, to Yahuwah's teaching, his commandments, his instructions. And they profane my set apart matters. They have not distinguished, meaning they have not made a differentiation between what is set apart and what is profane unto Yahuwah, nor have they made known the difference between what is unclean and what is clean. And they have what? Hidden their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned in their midst. Many of you are purposely hiding your eyes from this truth because you want to continue to think that your Sabbath is on Saturn's day, which is Satan's day. How long will we continue to be stiff-necked? How long will we be hard-headed? How long will we be disobedient? Does he have to crack the sky? It's going to be too late. Does he have to take the breath out of your lungs? It'll be too late. Today is the day. Today is the day of salvation. You are to repent, turn back, go back to the ancient path. Ask how to get back to on the ancient path and get on it and walk on it. Tuda Jackie, see? If I'm making sense of what I'm sharing with you today, please give me a 7. If the words that are coming out of my mouth is making sense to you today, please give me a 7. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If what I have shared with you so far has caused you to say, I'm no longer going to follow a Saturday Sabbath, and you've been keeping a Saturday Sabbath up until today, you thought yesterday was Sabbath and you did Sabbath yesterday, and you are no longer going to do that, give me a 1. If you are no longer going to keep Saturday Sabbath as of today, give me a 1. Abba Yahuwah has opened up your eyes to the truth. What I just shared with you in John chapter 8, you're able to hear his words. Unlike some people, they cannot hear his words. And if they're not hearing his words, it said it right there. Yahuwah said it himself. You can't hear my words because you are of your father, the devil. Satan gave us Saturn's day Shabbat. This is the true calendar, what I'm sharing with you all. I had to take you down this path about Saturn to understand about Saturday Sabbath. All of you know who are coming into this truth, the devices of Satan. We understand his ways. Sometimes we don't understand the depth of his ways. But this being is very, very wicked. You don't think that he is going to try to cause us to trick us from keeping the true Sabbath day? You think that Yahuwah is just going to allow us to generalize whatever day we want and say that that day is going to be his Sabbath without looking into the matter to search the matter out? It is kings who search out a matter. Are you a king of Yahuwah? He says he's going to make us kings and priests. You're to search these matters out. Oh, yes, I know all about Troy Miller. Yes, this lunar Sabbath is a whole nother wickedness. I just showed you all, according to the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, verse 9, the moon has nothing to do with finding the Sabbath. Nothing to do with finding the Sabbath. In fact, when you continue on to the 6th chapter, it blatantly tells you if you keep following the moon, you're going to go in error as to the days. In fact, let me read it. Let me not paraphrase it. Let me not summarize it. Let me just take you there. Jubilees, chapter 6. Notice what it says here. Verse 36. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. That means it's not on its appointed time. The moon is not on the appointed time. That's why it comes in 10 days too soon. It is for this reason, what reason? For making observations of the moon, that the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, not some of the days, but all the days. The set apart with the unclean day with the set apart, for they will go wrong as to what? Months. Why? Because they're making observations of the moon. They will go wrong as to the Sabbaths. Why? Because they're making observations of the moon. They will go wrong as to the appointed times, the feast days, because they're making observations of the moon. They would go wrong as to the Jubilees, the 50-year periods. Why? Again, because they're making observations of the moon. For this reason, I command and testify to you, Moses, that you may testify to them, to the children of Yasharal, Israel. For after your death, Moses, your children, that is the children of Israel, will disturb them. Disturb what? The calendar. So that they will not make the year 364 days only. Why? Because we're following a Gregorian calendar that says you are to follow 365 days in a quarter. So what are we doing here? Why are we following their 7-day cycle? This isn't the 7-day cycle that Yahuwah gave us. This is the cycle that Satan gave us. After all, Satan wants to pervert everything that Yahuwah has ever created, including his calendar, including his rest day. You want to keep hiding your eyes purposely from his Sabbath? Continue following Saturday Sabbaths. You want to continue to follow the ways of Satan? You continue to keep Saturday Sabbath. But we're supposed to keep a 364-day calendar only. For this reason, they will go wrong as to the new moons. Notice that word, new moons. It can't be new moons if he's telling you right here. This is, again, a messed up translation. You can't make observations of the moon and then still be looking for a new moon, people. The first day of the month has been erroneously called new moon. You'll find this in many translations. This is one thing that the King James Version has right. It'll say new month. There's a lot of things about the King James Version that I don't like, but that's one that they got right. It is not the moon. And then you have some people who will read Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach. Sirach is a Hellenized Jew. What does it mean to be Hellenized? It means that he has been taught in the ways of the Grecians. He wrote a book that is named after himself and says that the month gets its name from the moon. And people like to use that passage, just like they like to use Psalms 104, verse 19, and say it's the moon that has been given to us for the times that are appointed. If you look at the Hebrew word, it says that the moon has been given to us for seasons. This is why you have the harvest moon. It's for planting. It's for harvesting. That's what the moon is for. It's for agriculture. It has nothing to do with the days of the week, has nothing to do with the Sabbath, has nothing to do with the feast days. But you have people that will look at the sliver of the moon in the western sky and say, oh, blow the shofar. We're in a new month. 14 days later of the first month, they say, oh, this is the Passover. Totally wrong. Just like what we just read here, they're going to confuse and confound all the days. They will go wrong as to all the set apart days because of following the moon cycle and the phases of the moon. This in itself, once again, is where we get the word lunatic. People who are following the lunar cycle are considered lunatics. Lunatic. That's where the word comes from. Followers of the moon. If any of you have a little bit of Asian culture in you, or you understand about the Asian culture like I do because I'm part Asian myself, part Korean, they follow the lunar cycle. They follow the lunar calendar. In fact, some of them are having their lunar year right now. This is not of Yahuwah. This is pagan through and through. So again, do you want to purposely hide your eyes from his Sabbath according to Ezekiel chapter 22? By all means, you can do so. But you don't have to. Yahuwah has chosen you, has chosen me to get back on this right calendar with him. Don't deviate from the instructions. Don't try to make your Sabbath always on a Saturday by changing up the instructions that we see in the book or the Dead Sea Scrolls, by trying to get it to line up with your Wednesday, and then 3 days later, you want to say it's the Sabbath. Because you're following into the same folly as our ancestors. You're keeping the wrong Shabbat. This is not by coincidence that Yahuwah has given us this understanding at this time, in this hour of humanity. Just like I was sharing earlier, you're going to need this for the time of the great testing, also known as the Great Tribulation. We are about to get thrusted out into the wilderness for those of you who believe the word of Yahuwah. You're going to be fleeing for your life. You want to be in right standings with Yahuwah? Know his calendar. You want to know the day and the hour? Know his calendar. You want to be one of his children that has been placed upon you as a sign by keeping the Shabbat? Know his calendar. You will not be one of his children if you don't do what he say. He's looked past our ignorance. The time of ignorance is gone. We are in the time of the information age. And the information age is not only of technology, but it's of his word. Just like it says in Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. In the last days, many shall run to and fro throughout the earth, and knowledge of his word, not Satan's technology, shall increase. The knowledge and the understanding of his word shall increase. We are witnessing that right now. There are many people who are coming into this truth now. That is a beautiful thing. Yapa, yapa. It's beautiful. Hence why we come together today on this Shabbat to celebrate our Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth, the one who gave us the true calendar by knowing how to read the sun of its shadow as he has given it to us. Many of us don't have no idea how to read the sun through shadows, but this was normal in the days of the Hebrews. It was part of their culture. Nobody was walking around with a watch or a cell phone or a calendar hanging up inside their tent like we have today. The priesthood had to be professionals of understanding how to read the sun. They don't look at the sun, they read the shadows from the sun, hence a sundial. Not only was the parchments of the Dead Sea Scrolls found in these caves, but they also found a sundial. I don't think that's by accident that they found that as well. It was showing how they were keeping time, the instrument that they used, and their writings. It goes all hand in hand. Abba Yahuwah willing, coming up here on the, let me see here, what day would that be? Give me a second, let me check here. I am going to be out in the wilderness, and I will be coming online live, Yahuwah willing, on the 17th of March. Right here. We made a error here. This is supposed to be the 17th, not the 16th. So hence why you see I have a 17 there. The 17th of March, Pagan Day, March, I will be in the wilderness making markings as we come to the day of the spring equinox. I will be doing it on the 17th, the 18th, and the 19th, of course, the 20th, which is going to be the spring equinox. And then I'm going to do the day after the spring equinox. So altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And I hope that all of you will get to witness this, and you will do it as well in your neck of the woods, because you need to learn how to do this. As I was sharing earlier, the priesthood, what you know as the Levitical priesthood, they all understood how to read the sun using a sundial. In fact, the temple, the second temple, and I'm sure the first temple as well, but the second temple, the one that was destroyed in 70 AD, was erected as a big old sundial. The literal temple itself and everything that was in the courtyard, the inner courtyard and the outer courtyard, was all a big old sundial. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you a diagram of it. Let's see, where is it at here? Let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so let me show you this one first. So this is a rendition from an artist who put this together. This is what the temple compound looked like, okay? Where's my pen? What did I do with my pen? Oh, here it is. Give me a second, you guys. Then drop my pen on the ground. All right. You can see there the altar. This is where they would burn the offerings before the temple. Okay? So you know that this would be the inner courtyard here, right? Wait, let me back up. Let me see here. Make sure I'm saying this right. So this would be a cross section. This would be the outer courtyard. This would be the inner courtyard. So this is the inner courtyard right here. This is the outer courtyard right here. Then you have what we know as the most high place would be in the very back of this temple. Okay, that's where the Ark of the Agreement would be. All right. But notice all these little, you have the gates here, but you have all these little vestibules or little rooms, storehouses, all around the side here. So let me show you another one of this same thing, but a cross section of it. So this is what the Millennial Temple Complex would look like. If you was to read Ezekiel, this is where this is coming from. You'll see that I have letter A, B, C, and D, all right? And then you see the numbers here. This is what's so amazing about this temple. It is erected facing due east, okay? Why due east? Because again, this was set up to where when the sun would come over the Mount of Olives 2 times a year during the equinox, the spring and the fall equinox, it would enter right through the eastern gate. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit here so you guys can see it a little better. That's the eastern gate right there that you're looking at, okay? So the eastern gate, the sun would go right through here during the equinox, and it would shine all the way to the curtain that separates the most high place from the high place. All right? This would happen twice a year. The sun rays would go straight in to the most high place. That's how they knew, the Levitical priesthood would know, that it was the spring equinox, the first day of the year. Remember, we're told in the book of Enoch that there are 30 days every month. You have 30 storehouses all the way around. This is where people would bring their tithes to the Levitical priesthood, and they would put it in the storehouses, as you read in the book of Malachi. Right here, this is where they would put them in. Okay, this is for the orphans and the widows, and for themselves, the Levitical priesthood, and those who were indigent, who didn't have things. So then you would say, and again, this is just my speculation here about these 4 towers, A, B, C, and D. Here you would have your springtime. So this would be the spring equinox. How they would mark it, I don't know. But let's just say they put a sandbag there and say, okay, today is, we're in the spring season, A, the first of the year. Maybe they had a sandbag and they would move it every day in front of these storehouses to count what number of the day of that month until they get to the 30th day. And then they'll start all over again and they'll do it again. And then on the 3rd month, they would do it again. But this time when they get to the 30th day, move the sandbag from Tower A to Tower B. Now we're going into the summer. And now we're going to start that count again. And you do it 30, 30, 30, 31. Now you move it to C. Now we're into the fall. Opposites. Spring equinox, fall equinox. 30, 30, 31. Now you go to D, the winter. Do it again. 30, 30, 31. Now you're going back to the spring equinox. So this whole complex is a huge sundial. Huge sundial. We understand this when you read the book of Enoch, chapter 72. We're not going to read all of it. You can read it on your own time. Enoch, chapter 72, it says this, starting at verse 4. And first there goes out the great luminary named the sun, Shamash, and his circumference is like the circumference of the Shama, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot, the vehicle, the mode of operation on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the Shama and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of the Shama. In this way, he rises in the first month. Notice that first month in the great portal, which is of the fourth of the six portals in the east. And in that fourth portal from which the sun rises in the first month are the 12 windows openings, or 12 window openings, from which proceeds a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven or in the Shama, he comes out through the fourth portal 30 mornings or 30 sunrises. That's what I just showed you of the millennial complex, the temple complex. Excuse me. And it does this in succession, meaning there's no breaks. It's consistent, 30 days, consistent. This right here, anyone who is following a lunar Shabbat, you're already in error because you don't keep a 30-day count. You're keeping a 28-day count. So you're already in error. Any of you who are following the lunar, so-called lunisolar calendar, you are in error, my friend. You need to come out of the Babylonian calendar. Again, right here, speaks against you, lunar Sabbatarians. The sun rises in the heaven. He comes through the fourth portal, 30 sunrises, 30 mornings in succession without any break. You don't restart because you see a sliver of the moon and say, okay, this is the first day after the sliver of the moon. And it sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of heaven. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer and the night nightly shorter to the 30th morning. On that day, the day is longer than the night by 9 parts. So just like we're coming here in the north of the equator, for those of us who live like here in the United States, as I do, the days are getting longer since the winter solstice. And so we see that the days of the sun rays are being seen a little longer every day by 2 minutes, I believe it is. So the sun rises from that fourth portal and sets in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal of the east, 30 sunrises, 30 mornings. This is the second month. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts of the amount of 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts. And it returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal and rises and sets in the sixth portal, 31 sunrises or mornings on what? Account of its sign. What sign? The summer solstice. Remember what we read in Jubilees. What did it say there? It said, verse 9, chapter 2 of Jubilees, Yahuwah appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days and for Sabbath and for months. What is the sign that we're seeing here? In verse 13, in the third month of the year, on account of its sign. This sign is what you and I know in the modern vernacular as the summer solstice. Now we're going into the summer months. And so you have another 30 days, you have another 30 days, and then you have 31 days on account of its sign. Wonder what sign that is? That is the fall equinox. Now we're at 6 months. And then it goes again, another 30 days. That's the 7th month, another 30 days, 8th month. And then another 30 days, but another one extra. What is it? It doesn't say on account of its sign, but we've already been told twice. The extra 1 day is account of its sign. It's the winter solstice. Then you have another 30 days, another 30 days, and then you have another 31 days, and that completes the year. It's 12 months, not 13. If you're following the lunar cycle, every 3 years, you're going to have a 13th month. There is no 13th month. It's nowhere in the book of Enoch. And it was shown to him the secrets of the luminaries. Nowhere does it say ever, ever that we're supposed to follow the moon for our months. The moon has its own what is called months, but it is not the months that we are to follow to keep the days, to keep the Sabbaths, to keep the feast days, to keep the years, to keep the months. It has nothing to do with the moon and has everything to do with the sun, the sun. This is why people who want to find whatever it is that they believe that is the truth, you're going to be able to find it. You want to find out that every word is paganism? You'll find it. You'll find it. You want to believe that there's 13 months in a year? You'll find it. You want to believe that Satan is the creator? You'll find it. That doesn't make it true. Either you're going to stick to the words or you're going to be led astray. It's one or the other. It's not going to be both. This is why we know, just like the name has been given to us, restored to us, Yahuwah, Yahusha, just like he's opened our eyes that we're supposed to keep the commandments, this has been restored to us, the understanding of keeping his commandments, not for salvation, but this is how we show that we love him. The salvation is through the blood, because without the blood, there is no remission of sin. And without no remission of sin, you have no salvation. But through all that being said, following the commandments go hand in hand to make sure that you have the blood applied upon you. Without keeping the Shabbat, without keeping the commandments, you, my friend, are not forgiven. You have not been born again. You do not have the Ruach HaKadosh, the Spirit of Yahuwah dwelling in you. Again, not my words. It's out the book. This is why I showed you in John chapter 8, if those words are true that our Messiah has said, if you don't follow his words, then you are either with him or you're with Satan. There's no gray area. If you are not keeping his words, then you are with Satan. If you want to call him Jesus, and he told you that he came in his Father's name, you are with Satan. If you are keeping a Saturday Sabbath and you are not keeping his Sabbath as he has given it to us through the sun, moon, and the stars, then you are with Satan. If you are not keeping his calendar, you are with Satan. It's that simple. This is not difficult. It is not hard. What gets in the way is we try to rationalize, but wait a minute, what about all the other people who came before us and they didn't know this information? Scripture talks about that too. He's going to deal with them according to their understanding. To him who's been given much, like yourselves and myself, much more shall be required of us. To those who have been given a little, little shall be required of them. But understand, there is a reward for knowing all of this information and doing them. It's one thing to know the information like Satan. Satan knows this information. That's why he twisted it. He perverted it. Why? Because he used to keep this calendar in heaven. Let me say that again. Satan used to keep the true calendar in heaven. I just read a little bit for you earlier in Jubilees chapter 2. Let me show you something here about that, because I didn't read all of it. Let me take you back again. Notice what it says here, chapter 2, verse 17. And he, that is Yahuwah, gave us, that is the angels, a great sign, the Sabbath day. Same thing that we read in Exodus. That Yahuwah says, the Sabbath shall be a sign between me and the children of Israel. He didn't say to the children of the Moabites. He didn't say the children of the Egyptians. He didn't say the children of the Germans. He didn't say the children of the Chinese. He didn't say the children of the Americans. No, he said to the children of Israel. It's a sign. Is this to show who you belong to? Either you're going to have the mark of Yahuwah or you're going to have the mark of Satan. Who do you belong to? Who are you listening to? Who is your shepherd? You see, the Messiah says that we will not listen to another shepherd. That other shepherd is Satan. He gave us a great sign, the Shabbat day, that we, again, the angels, should work 6 days. Did you know that the angels work 6 days and they keep the Sabbath on the seventh day from all work? That's right. The angels are resting today. That's not to say that they don't do things for an emergency. Just like if we have an emergency, we got to take care of things. You got a water leak in your house. Oh, no, today's the Sabbath. I'm not stopping it. I'm just going to let it run and just flood the house. I can't do no work today. I can't lift up a wrench. There's some people who think like that. There's some people who think that they can't rip a piece of toilet paper because that's work. Make that make sense. And all the Malachim of the presence and all of the Malachim of the purification, these two great classes of the Malachim, of the angels, he, Yahuwah, has hidden us to keep, notice that, to keep Sabbath with him in heaven. You know of any man ever in all of the scriptures or any of the New Testament writings that anyone was in heaven keeping the Sabbath? Of course not. This was before Adam was created. And I'm going to show you as we continue to read that they were to keep it in heaven and on earth. They're the only ones that can transverse back and forth. We can't. And he, Yahuwah, said unto us, to these angels, behold, I will separate unto myself. This is where he makes this pact, this contract, this agreement, this marriage vow with the children of Israel. I will have a people unto myself from among all the peoples, amongst all the other ethnic groups. And these will keep the Sabbath day. Are you one of these people? I hope you are. And I will set them apart unto myself as my people, and I will barak them as I have set apart the Sabbath day, separated the Sabbath day, and do separate it unto myself. Even so I shall barak them, that is the children of Yasharal. They will be my people, and I shall be their mighty one. This is where I stopped the last time. Let's continue. And I have chosen the seed of Yaqub, Jacob, who you know his name was changed to Israel. From among all that I have seen, among all that he has seen, yes, all the other peoples that are on the earth, and have written him down as my firstborn son, just like it says in the book of Isaiah, and have set him apart unto myself, what? Forever and ever. And I will teach them. Teach who? The 12 tribes of Israel, the Sabbath day, that they might keep the Sabbath thereon from all work. And thus he, Yahuwah, created therein a sign, in accordance with which they should keep the Sabbath with us on the seventh day. Who's us? That's the angels. This angel who is saying this to Moses, as we're reading this, this is what we're hearing, this conversation between this angel and Masha, aka Moses, how this angel is telling Moses, that Yahuwah was going to pick for himself a people. And you have them right now, Moses, right here at the foothill of the bottom of this mountain called Sinai that you're upon right now, getting this information. You're going to teach them this. And so he's going to give them a sign. For those of you who know, as I do, when did he teach the children of Yasharal? Well, that is recorded in the book of Exodus, chapter 16. Read Exodus chapter 16, and you're going to see where he taught the children of Israel with manna raining down from the heavens 6 days. And on the sixth day, they had a double portion of that manna strewn out all over the campground. That was a sign unto them that the very next day would be a Sabbath. You will not find this when you go outside of your tent in the morning, not in the evening, because if he wanted them to know that a day begins in the evening, he would have taught them with the bird called a quail, because he says that he was going to rain down quail in the evening, but he didn't teach them with quail. If the day began and if the Sabbath begins in the evening, then he would have taught them with quail, but he didn't teach them with quail. He taught them with manna that came down every morning, and they had to pick it up before the sun rose way too high up in the sky, because it would melt the manna that was on the ground. So again, the erroneous teachings of the rabbis that a day begins in the evening, that is of Satan. We are not children of the darkness. We are children of the light. We are children of the day and night of the night. And so it goes on and says, and thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should keep the Sabbath with us, with the angels, on the seventh day, to eat and to drink. So you're supposed to enjoy the Sabbath like we are today. You're to be eating while you're listening to me talk. You're supposed to be drinking while you're listening to me talk. This is a celebratory day unto Yahuwah. And to Barak him, we are to give praises to him. That's what we're doing. Who has created all things, as he has Baruch and set apart unto himself a peculiar people above all the peoples, that they should keep the Sabbath together with us angels. How beautiful is that? And he caused his commandments or his commands to ascend as a sweet savor acceptable before him all the days. You want to have the sweet savor come before him? Your walk is an offering. Your walk is that sacrifice. You are to do your reasonable service as an offering unto Yahuwah. Your life is an offering unto him. It should be a sweet smelling savor unto him as you're doing his commandments. And he calls his commandments as a ascending sweet savor acceptable before him all the days. There were 22 heads of Adam's kind from Adam to Jacob. That means that there was 22 generations between Adam and Jacob. And that's book. You can count it for yourself, going through the book of Genesis, Barashit. And 22 kinds of work was made until the seventh day. If you go back and you look at what he did, there was 22 things that he created from day 1 to day 6. This is Baruch and set apart, and the former also is Baruch and set apart. And this one serves with the one for purification and barakah. And to this Jacob and his seed, it was granted that they should always be Baruch and the set apart ones of the first testimony and law. What's the first testimony and law? It was the first agreement. It was what was given at Mount Sinai. Set apart and Baruch the seventh day on the Sabbath, or the Sabbath, I said that backwards, the Sabbath day on the seventh day. Excuse me. So this is the witness, this is the testimony of keeping the Sabbath day on the seventh day. His seventh day, not the Gregorian calendar that has been given to us by the Catholic Church that they call Saturn's Day, because again, they celebrate Saturnalia. You may know it as Christmas, the giving of gifts. Verse 25, he, Yahuwah, created the heaven and the earth, the Shama and the Arats, and everything that he created in 6 days. And Alua Elohim made the seventh day set apart for all his works. Therefore, he commanded on its behalf that whoever does any work thereon shall be unalive, and that he who defiles it shall surely be put to death. For that reason, you are to command the children of Yasharal to observe this day, that they may keep it, to guard it, and to set it apart, and not do any work thereon, and not to defile it. For it is more pure, it is more clean than any of the other days. So you want to still think that Saturn's day of Sabbath is pure and clean before Yahuwah, even though it's associated with Satan? Every Sabbath that you call Saturn's day? And whoever profanes it shall surely die. And whoever does any work thereon shall surely die eternally. That's the lake of fire. And we know he doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. That the children of Yasharal may observe this day throughout their generations and not be rooted out of the land. This is why the true Jews, who we know as African Americans, were thrusted out of the land in 70 AD. Yahuwah used their enemy, the Roman Empire, to push them out of Jerusalem. And so from that point on, the Gentiles have been in control of the city of Jerusalem as it is to this very day. Those who call themselves Jews that are sitting there, who are wearing those yarmulkes on their head, which is nowhere in scripture, who have the curly locks on the left and the right side of their face, is nowhere in scripture. These people who are Japhites are the Gentiles. They shall trodden down Jerusalem until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And everyone who observes it, observes what? The Sabbath, and keeps the Sabbath thereon from all their work, will be set apart in Baruch. Do you want to be set apart in Baruch? Then you need to be like them, as it says here, throughout all the days, like unto us, like the angels. This is the righteous angels, not the 1/3 that followed Satan. This is the 2/3 that kept their abode. Declare and say to the children of Yasharal the law of this day, both that they should keep the Sabbath thereon and that they should not forsake it in the error of their hearts. And that's exactly what has happened. We have missed the mark and have followed the traditions of men, and we lost the Sabbath in the error of our heart. And that it is not lawful to do any work thereon which is unseemly. Notice it says which is unseemly, because sometimes there's a moment that you must do some work. Just like the Messiah says, if your neighbor's ox falls into a ditch and he asks for your help, are you not going to help him? Surely you should. That's how you love your neighbor, because you're looking after your neighbor's property. To do thereon their own pleasure. We're not to do our own pleasure. Like today. Today is the Shabbat. We're not to be watching this fake pagan Super Bowl. And that they should not prepare thereon anything to be eaten or drunk, and that is not lawful to draw water and bring in or to take out thereon through their gates any burden which they had not prepared for themselves on the 6th day in their dwellings, which is their home. So like many of you already know, we do our preparation day the day before the Sabbath, which yesterday was our preparation day, Arak Yom. Arak, preparation, Yom, day. The world calls yesterday the Sabbath, but yesterday was our preparation day. Today is the Sabbath. It won't be always on a Sunday, but right now until the spring equinox, it's the Sabbath. Sunday is the Sabbath right now. Has nothing to do with Christian theology, has nothing to do with because they say that the Messiah was raised on their first day of the week on a Sunday. That is not why we are resting today. We're resting today because the calendar of Yahuwah says today is the Sabbath. Verse 30, and they shall not bring in nor take out from house to house on that day, meaning the Sabbath day. For that day is more set apart and Baruch than any Jubilee day of the Jubilees. Now notice what it says here that I have highlighted. On this, we, that is the angels, kept Sabbath in the Shamayim, because no man has ascended except for the son of Adam, before it was made known to any flesh to keep the Sabbath here on the earth. This angel is telling Moses that the Sabbath predates him. The Sabbath predates the earth. The Sabbath was kept and is still being kept in heaven. Notice that. Let me read that again. On this, we, the angels, kept Sabbath in the heavens before it was made known to any flesh. That means any flesh to keep Sabbath here on the earth. And the creator of all things Baruched it. But he did not set apart all the peoples and all the nations to keep the Sabbath thereon, except Israel alone. Now, some of you who are Gentiles, you may say, does that exclude me? It doesn't exclude you. You are included if your eyes are open. If you wish to venerate his Sabbath. Let me show you. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 56, I believe it is. Isaiah chapter 56. Let's go down here. Verse 6. Also, the son of the foreigner, that would be somebody who is not Israel, who joins themselves to Yahuwah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah, not to love the name of the Lord, not to love the name of God, not to love the name of Jesus, not to love the title Christ. No, the name of Yahuwah, YHU, not WH, Yahuwah. To be his servants, all who guard what? The Sabbath, and not profane it, and are holding on to my agreement, my contract, my marriage vow. To them I shall bring to my set apart mountain, that is to his kingdom. Let your kingdom come, your will be done on the earth as it is in the Shamaim, in the heavens. And let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their ascending offerings and their slaughterings are accepted on my altar, on my slaughter place. For my house is called a house of prayer for all the peoples. You see, our Abba Yahuwah isn't prejudiced, nor is he racist. Don't let anyone who is teaching you that because of the color of your skin, you're not able to get in, that you are disqualified because you're pale, or that because you're a white person, or that because you're Chinese, or because you are a Hamite and you're from Africa. No, that has nothing to do with this. I just read it for you. He says all are accepted unto him. Those who keep his Sabbaths, those who keep his agreement. And what is his agreement? It was what was given to the children of Yasharal at Mount Sinai. These are my commandments, Israel. If you keep this, I shall preserve you. You shall be my people, and I will be your mighty one, and you shall have everlasting life. Remember, there was a mixed multitude who walked out of Egypt with the 12 tribes of Israel. The Creator says that there is one law to the native born and to the foreigner that is in your midst. So when he says it was only given to Israel and Israel alone to keep the Sabbath, it's talking about not only those who are native born, but those who have been grafted in. As you all know, for those of you who know the truth, we must all become Israel. Yahuwah has not made a contract with any other people. He didn't make it with no Gentiles. Nowhere in scripture does it say salvation is of the Gentiles. It doesn't say that. It says salvation is of the Jews. Why? Because it's for the Jews. So how do you become a Jew? Keeping his commandments. Yeah. And believing on the Jew who came in flesh, who is Yahusha, the Messiah. He's the King of the Jews. He is the Lion from the tribe of Yahudah, which is where we get the word Jew from, Judah. Hebrew, Yahudim, a Yahudi, singular, from the tribe of Yahudah. You must become a Yahudim. And so again, it says, verse 31, and the Creator, that is Yahuwah, of all things, Baruch it. Baruch what? The Sabbath. But he did not set it apart for all the peoples and nations to keep the Sabbath thereon, but Israel alone. Again, this Israel, he's speaking of those who would also be grafted in to become Israel. Them alone he permitted to eat and drink and to keep the Sabbath thereon on the earth. And the Creator of all things, Baruch this day, which he had created for a barakah and a purification and an esteem above all the days. This law and testimony was given to the children of Yasharal as a law forever. Not until the Messiah came and put himself on the cross. No. Why do I say that? Because there are those that are Christians who think because of the pagan cross, the laws have been done away with. It is forever unto their generations. This is the study of the understanding of the true Shabbat. Has nothing to do with Saturn's day. Has nothing to do with Saturday. Has nothing to do with Saturn's day being connected to the six-pointed star, which they call the Star of David, which is also known as the Star of Moloch, which is also known as the Star of Renphan. That star is connected to Saturn's day, Saturday. That just so happens to be their Sabbath day. That is not Yahuwah's Sabbath day. Yahuwah's Sabbath day is associated with the sun. If you don't know how to read the sun, then you won't know the true Sabbath day. You do not take away, nor do you add to his word to make every Sabbath a Saturn's day. And with that, my brothers and sisters, that is the completion of this study today. I want to thank all of you for coming today and hearing this study. If you forget, because there was a lot of information that we went through, you can always go back and listen to it. It will be uploaded automatically here later on this evening. You can go back and study it. I want to try to keep it in a 3-hour segment so that those who want to study can go back and look into this matter for themselves. I want to thank you again for coming. I'm going to come back on. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, but we're going to end this live. Let us pray before we call it quits. Heavenly Abba Yahuwah, Tuda Atah, thank you for your word. Thank you for preserving your word, O Abba. With those who came before us, who lived there in the desert known as the Qumran area, that wrote these things down on parchments so that we, a future generation, may be able to look into these matters to find your calendar once again as you have restored it unto your people, Yashra'al. If any of us who don't truly understand this clearly, O Abba, we ask that you would show it to us by your Spirit, by your Ruach HaKadosh. For you said that we are not to be taught by anyone, not by our neighbors and not by our brethren, but that we shall all be taught by you, by your Ruach. So we ask that you would lead us and guide us and open up the thought of our understanding. For you said that if we ask, you shall give it to us. If we seek, we shall find it. And if we knock persistently, you will open up the door of our understanding to your truth. This is what we beg of you, O Abba. Prepare us, your people, for the time that is at hand, for we see the things that are about to come upon this earth. Keep us, O Abba. Keep us in your bosom. All these things we ask on this beautiful Shabbat Yom that belongs to you. We ask all these things in the mighty name of your Bane, your son, Yahushua HaMashiach. I ask, O Abba, that you would Baruch each person who is listening today and those who might have already left. May that seed that has been planted in their heart germinate and bring back to you, O Abba, some 30, 60, and 100-fold return. Because all the esteem is to you. You are wonderful, O Yah, and there is none like you. Thank you for choosing us, for we have not chosen you. Thank you for being faithful, even when we are faithless. Please continue to finish the work of salvation in each and every one of us. Help us, O Abba, to accept the punishment of those things that we have done before you by breaking your law, but do not deal with us too harshly. Remember your promises that you have given to our forefathers, our ancestors, to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob, that you would raise up a people for yourself, that we may be your people, and you be our Alua Alahim, O Yahuwah. To your most righteous name do we say all these things. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, and Hallelujah, Amat. Rumamu Yahuwah, which means to exalt. I am the self-existing one. Okay, Mishpachah. So we want to thank you again for your time with us. If you haven't subscribed, we ask that you would subscribe to this channel We meet every Sabbath. We get into a lot of different things. All of the things that we talk about is to destroy the customs and the traditions of men, the errors of the teachings that we have inherited by our ancestors. And we ask that Abba Yahuwah will open up our hearts to this truth so that we will not go astray as so many others have done so. We all want to enter into that narrow gate that leads to everlasting life. And so I hope that we will see many of you again and that you will continue to come back and so that we can learn together. We know that his time is near. We see the things that are coming upon this earth. Many of you who are old enough like I am, you have seen this world change in your short amount of years walking this earth. We're about to get into a time, as the Messiah says, trouble like this world has never seen, nor ever shall see again. It is very, very important for us to know this information and to walk with our Creator. So I want to thank you. And yes, Tudata Aki Emmanuel. When I come back on here on YouTube, I will be taking questions through the comments. Again, I want to thank you. My name is Ak Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy, and we are the ambassadors of YAH.
Straight out of the book, the scriptures, verses sharper than fishing hooks, snagging souls, taking poles, leaving devils shook. Who we be? Messengers, truth bringers, that's the key. Unlocking minds, leaving darkness in debris. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Verses be thumping, shofars be blowing, beat be steady. Word power every hour, truth already. Blended deep secrets keep fools unsteady. We elevate till your fate be ready. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors, yeah. Listen close, hear us, yeah.